The Rolling Stones have been around longer than any other rock band of their time, and with their two founding members, Keith Richards and Mick Jagger, who are both 81 years old, show no signs of slowing down after over 60 years of touring and recording. Throughout their long and incredibly successful career, the band has been no stranger to criticism from their contemporaries and made some enemies along the way that have never shared kind words about the band. Here are 5 rock stars who don't like the Rolling Stones. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. With an ego as big as artists like the Rolling Stones and Elton John, of course the two acts are gonna hurl insults at each other and speak negatively about each other in the media for decades. On one occasion, Richards slandered Elton John by calling him an old and adding that his writing is limited to songs about dead blondes. Elton responded immediately, saying, "It would be awful to be like Keith Richards. He's pathetic." He later called Richards a monkey with arthritis, trying to go on stage and look young. He later added that he has great respect for the Stones, but they would have been better off if they would have thrown Keith out 15 years ago. However, more recently, the two iconic rock acts have put their beef behind them and collaborated on the Stones' newest album, Hackney Diamonds, in 2023. Elton and the Stones worked on 2 tracks from the album, called Get Close and Live by the Sword, where Elton played piano on both tracks. But it looks like Elton and the band are on good terms now and seem to get along much better. Ritchie Blackmore is another rock icon who has no love for the Stones and called out the band on several occasions. In one interview, he called the Stones unoriginal and said he dislikes their unauthentic sound and lyrics. He said that in a music scene filled with genre bending and pioneering artists like Hendrix, Cream, and the Beatles, the Stones were the biggest idiots of the bunch. He claims that the band made a career off of picking off from old American blues standards and Chuck Berry. He later ended up saying that he understands why they are successful given their infectious rhythms and the gyrations of Mick Jagger, but other than that, he's not a fan or admirer of the band. As a hippie of the 60s, for a long time, David Crosby couldn't say a nice word about the Rolling Stones, mainly because of the band's raunchy image and how the band simply profited off of the counterculture instead of helping it to move forward, like he did with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. David's biggest criticism of the band came after the band's infamous concert at Altamont in 1969. David said, after the horrific events where the band hired the Hells Angels as security in a regrettable move that resulted in fatalities, I think the major mistake was taking what was essentially a party and turning it into an ego game and a star trip for the Rolling Stones, who qualify, in my book, as snobs. I think they're on a grotesque, negative ego trip essentially, especially Jagger and Richards. Crosby also said that he found the Stones much more limited in range in comparison to a band like the Beatles and just had more of a preference for the Beatles instead of the Stones. While David may have been harsh in his critique of the Stones, he did make a valid point about the irresponsibility of the band and how they endangered the lives of their own fans. Gingerbaker had no remorse in his opinion of the Rolling Stones and firmly believed the band were heavily overrated and lacked any musical talent or integrity whatsoever. He said, "I won't go within 10 miles of a Rolling Stones gig. They're not good musicians at all. I hate the Stones and I always have. Mick Jagger is a musical moron. True, he is an economic genius, but most of them are morons." Ginger even said that he wasn't impressed by their songwriting and believed that they simply didn't have what it took technically to produce anything worthwhile for the blues cover band that they were. Strangely enough, Ginger was good friends with the Stones drummer Charlie Watts. Both Charlie and Ginger bonded over their love of jazz and big band drummers of the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. He also called Watts the best musician in the Stones by a country mile and praised the drummer on numerous occasions. But hands down, out of all the rock stars on this list, perhaps no one had more disdain for the Stones than Lemmy Kilmister. The reason why Lemmy didn't like the Stones was because he found the band pretentious and didn't like how the band made themselves seem like rebellious, gritty rock and roll rebels. He said that the Stones were really upper middle class college students from the outskirts of London. They weren't gritty rock stars who came from nothing. Mick Jagger was a student at the London School of Economics. They starved in the early days, but only by choice. They were a well-off band that tried to act like disrespectful punks when they were really just college kids who liked to rip off the blues. In his memoir, White Line Fever, Lemmy called the Stones Mommy's Boys. He also added that the Stones, unlike the Beatles, lacked the same originality, range, and never really changed their style. All they had was Mick Jagger dancing around, but they were nothing more than that. However, in his later years, Lemmy covered a few of the Rolling Stones songs, such as Sympathy for the Devil. He would later end off his opinion with the band, saying that while he's not crazy about them as people, he did enjoy a few of their songs, but believed his covers of their songs were much better in comparison to the Stones' original versions. Anyways, what did you guys think of the video? Are you a fan of the Rolling Stones? Have you ever seen the Rolling Stones live? Do you believe the Stones are overrated or perfectly rated? Do you agree with any of the rock stars here? Let us know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this one, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.